Good day to kind and lovely people. Today, my friend Bill, the Pelican, is holding a Wingsung 630, which is newish at time of recording. Homage to a Mont Blanc 149 or any other cigar-shaped pen of that size, maybe Sailor King a pen, whatever you like, but I would be inclined to say, after a number of factors, that it is modelled on a 149. Bill's just going to take a break. I'm nursing a little bit of a cold today, so if I sound a little bit throaty or bunged up, I do apologise. But I'm pushing through, so you're welcome. So, Wingsung 630. Which is the latest 149 homage clone out of China. This is in a very nice finish. It says blue when I ordered it and on the website, but according to the pictures, I thought, well, it looks a little bit tealy, maybe, or whatever. So I thought, it looks like a nice shade of blue, whatever it is. So I took a shot, and it is indeed, I would call it a teal. I'm sure someone else would call it something else. But if you're ordering blue, this is what it comes out as. So if you wanted to like a deep dark royal blue or something, just be aware it's not like that. So parts of the pen, we have, it's your cigar shape. If you're familiar with the Mont Blanc 149, if you're familiar with the Jinhao X159, etc., it's that shape, it's about that size, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So you've got a wide cap band flanked by two smaller cap bands, and on the large cap band you have Wingsung 630 and made in China, engraved along the cap band. Another gold ring attached to the clip unit, which is perfectly usable. And you have another cap band here, separating the barrel from the piston turning knob. This is a piston filler, so unlike Jinhao X159, piston filling replica, if you like. Whatever term you want to use, yeah. So it's a screw cap, and it unscrews in 1.5, is that? Let's try again. 1.5. To reveal a number 8 size steel bi-coloured nib and ink window. This is why I say modelled on a Mont Blanc as opposed to anything else. Has that Mont Blanc style ink window. You can also select just a plain, like open band ink window, so just like the whole thing clear around. I prefer this, a little bit subtler, but ink window is covered by the cap as well, which I like. Cap threads are non-intrusive, so if you wanted to hold up there you could do, and that is not sharp or annoying or painful in any way. You got the section there, and then a little black ring up the top of the section, which forms not part of the nib unit, but I suppose the nib housing for the nib unit. Don't know if that might bother you, not being the same colour as the body of the pen. Doesn't really bother me, in fact I think I quite like it, but that is subjective. Nib unit, I believe, is unscrewable, but you need a tool to do so. I'm trying to get the angle. There you go. So there's a little indent, so you need like the little wrench tool, slotty jobby, to go in there to unscrew that. Nib, also very reminiscent of a 149 nib design. Obviously you've got a different set of numbers on here, Wingsung or Wings, and bit of scroll work, steel nib, bi-coloured, and a plastic feed. You can get a gold nib, I believe, for these. Obviously extra monies, but we'll come back to that. As I mentioned, it's a piston filler. It's inked at the minute, so I won't operate the piston, but the piston mechanism, once you unscrew it, it does have two flat sides on the piston, so it looks like you could use a standard wing-sung wrench on it, or potentially something from Twisby Narwhal or something like that. So it's not got the same kind of indented Mont Blanc-esque key slot jobbies that you would find in the nib unit. However, again, didn't come with any sort of wrench, so you'd have to pick that up separately, or perhaps you've got another few bits knocking around. I haven't tried it yet, to be honest. So something from, as I say, another company may work as well. The packaging it came in was this. It was just this, yeah. I believe you can select with a box or without a box. I'm happy without a box, because if I've got a box, I'll keep the box, and then my house is going to be basically a box. Yeah. So, but yeah. So opened all this up. There's no wrench in there, so I don't know if you get a box, you might get a wrench, but I think you can buy them separately. And I'll shut up and carry on now. Yeah. Good. Measurements of the pen. Excuse me. Capped, you got 148.5 mils. All these in millimeters. Uncapped 134.5, and I put posted at 170. But hang on a second. Does it post? Well, right. If you just pop that on there, it does. But you've got to give that a really good squeeze to get that to stay on, and even then one little touch and whatnot will loosen that. So I'm gonna say that doesn't post. You could jam that on there at your own risk. You might crack your cap, etc. I would say it's not a natural poster. It's like kind of similar to the issues that I've seen and had with a Moonman P136. Look, some people say they do, a lot of people say they don't. I think it's just a case of if you happen to get one that's got a little bit more purchase or something like that, and you jam it on there, yeah, jam it. Like, don't marmalade it. No marmalade. Jam. But if you jam it on there, you can post it, but not very well, and not securely, and as I say, one little wiggle and that can come off. Anyway, capped, weight, inked, so a little bit of play, 32.2 grams, uncapped 21.1 with 11.1 in the cap. The barrel just starts off up near the ink window here at about 14.5. And then just bulging out a little bit to 15 in the middle, and then tapering back to 14.4 before you get to the piston knob, where obviously it tapers off even more. Section starts off at the top of the threads at 13.2 and then tapers down to 12.7 before that little flare out at the end. For some comparisons with some other pens, Wingsung 630 next to the usual Lamy Safari for common reference. Then you've got a Bennu Euphoria, an Oto Magna Classic, Asfine P30, and a Opus 88 Coloro. More immediately comparable to a Jinhao X159. I don't currently have a Montblanc 149 in order to compare. Maybe I will procure one and do a comparison at a later date. Visconti Homo Sapiens Bronze Age, Wingsung 699, sorry, stop wobbling, Moonman P136, and a Twisby Eco. So just while we're comparing, I won't do a full comparison here, maybe I'll do another one later. at a later date. But if we're comparing the Wing Sung to the Jinhao X159, they are extremely similar in size and dimension. To the naked eye, you've got the cap extends a bit further down along the Wing Sung, and just the piston knob's a little bit of a thinner taper off the end here than the non-piston knob faux blind cap of the Jinhao. Might just come back to that in a second. But let's see how it writes in the meantime. So here we have some Clairefontaine 90 GSM papier. It's paper, yeah. Excuse me while I fiddle with my focus as per usual. So that's bad, isn't it? There we go. Come on. There we go. That's not good. Hang on. Sorry. I blame the cold. Wing Sung. 630. Fine nib. Fine steel nib. And the ink is Diamine Teal, which I think goes quite nicely with the body of the pen. Very nice writing experience indeed. So remember, a fine nib, it's got a good flow, nice and smooth, and even with a little bit of bounce. I'll come back to that in a sec. Try it a bit quicker. No problem keeping up there. No skips, hard starts, anything like that. Found it to be very reliable in my week and a bit of trialing. Wetness, not at all bad at all. Not at all bad at all. Not at all bad, or not bad at all, depending on whether you're Yoda or not. But yeah, it's a very nice flow if you like. It's not an absolute gusher, but it's a good wetness if you like a nice wet fine nib. Very nice. Line variation. Do you know what? I forgot to measure the line. Tell you what, hang on. As if by magic, I now know the line widths. So with a no pressure line, I measure that at 0.5 millimeters, and you can, as I say, it's got a little bit of bounce in it. You can push that. I can push that up to 0.9 mil, where I feel comfortable pushing that to. So you can get a little bit of line variation out of it. It's not flexy, so go easy, but it has got a little bit, a nice bit of bounce into it too. So even in your normal course of writing and you're finishing off a letter or something like that, you could bounce it up a little bit down the end. Yeah, good nib this. I'm very pleased with it. Sorry, I forgot. Reverse writing. Actually, very smooth. You get you a bit drier, but it does keep going. That's pretty decent. Don't know if they're all like that, but this one's pretty decent, nice and smooth, and yeah, keeps going. If you like your reverse. So just while I've got the nib out, as the bishop said to the actress, so compare that to the Jinhao Hang on a sec. Here we go. So if we compare that to the Jinhao, sorry, I'm trying to marry these up. But basically the Wing Sung's longer, or protrudes longer out your housings. So they're both number 8 or number 8-ish size nibs, but the Wing Sung nib is a bit longer. I think these tines, marginally longer from like extending up from the breather hole. So you get that, just that little bit of extra bounce. Nice, I like it. I also like the kind of tiny bit of extra distance between my grip and the page, just with that extra little bit of length. That is nice. What else do I like? Again, I don't want to make this Jinhao versus Wing Sung, but I would say the quality of like your resin or plastic or whatever. That said, I've got a little scuff there. Never mind. I'd say the quality of the resin is just a little bit better than that you would find on a Jinhao. To be fair, so the price of one of these is about £30 or whatever international equivalent you would use. Varies a little bit, but around about that mark. So for that, as opposed to a £5 to £10 Jinhao X159, you are getting a piston filler. I would say you're getting a slightly higher quality resin. I would say you're probably getting a slightly higher quality build. I think the nib's a little bit nicer as well, but that's going to be potluck and subjectivity a little bit. What I will point out, and I don't know if you can pick it up, so just in the cap, in between the cap bands here, you can just see a lighter patch there and a lighter patch there. So that's not a trick. I don't know if you can pick it up properly. It's not a trick of the light. So there's a little lighter patch there to there, and a little lighter patch there to there, and it is the same on the other side. So that's obviously where it's been filled in after assembly or whatever it is. But I just want to point that out. There's a little lighter bit there and a little lighter bit there, and that is the same both sides. Also, a little bit uneven. So this side of this cap band is just protruding a little bit more than that side. It's a little bit more flush, so it's not quite lined up properly. And similar down, don't know if I can pick this up, but similar down here is like, it's not quite, there's a little bit of catch more on that side than that side. That side's a little bit more recessed than that side. So it's just like the knob's not completely central. Look, I mean, I noticed that because I'm looking thingy, but if you're just writing with it, it's not going to bother you. If it's going to bother you because you're going to inspect every detail, then it's something to be aware of, but it's not, doesn't affect the function, and I'm just pointing it out, right? As I say, the nib's nice. It's a little bit longer than the X159 and the Jinhao. Sorry, I'm trying to get through with my throat, right? Yeah, feel sorry for me, play a violin. Yeah, sorry. And it's got a nice little bit of bounce. It's nice and smooth. It's really well tuned and really good flow. Quite wet. I think you can only get these in extra fine and fine. Not 100% sure on that. Someone will probably correct me. So about £30 for the steel nib. I believe you can get it with a gold nib. And I think that's, you're going up to around £150, £160, which isn't actually the worst price for a piston filling number 8 size gold nib pen, presuming that the quality's there. I didn't want to take that leap, if I'm honest, at this point, but they are available. I would say if you are after a Mont Blanc-esque, Mont Blanc 149-esque pen, these are both good. They serve different functions. This is a cartridge converter pen. It costs £5 to £10 or whatever. I've done a review on this. I'll pop it down on the link. So there are a few more quality issues I sort of would say than this. But on the other hand, you're not going to be too bothered if you lose or damage that. You can replace that. But a solid pen nevertheless. You're jumping up a little tiny bit in price point, so going up to about £30-ish for a Wing Sung 630. I would say, I think this feels a little bit more solid and substantial in the hand. You've obviously got the extra weight of the piston mechanism in there. I think that probably helps. I think the resin's a little bit of a better quality. I think the nib's very nice. I don't know if that's representative of all Wingsung nibs, but you know, the one I've got is great. I can't fault it at all. Straight out of the box. I haven't tuned it, fiddled with it, anything. That's how it writes, and that's how it wrote out the box. So if you wanted that kind of slightly more substantial feel in weight, even in the quality of the touch of the resin, I think it's a little bit nicer. It just feels a little bit more solid and substantial. I'd go with one of these. Is it worth the extra £20 versus the X159? Yes, to me, I would say so, just based on those points. And as I say, you've got the gold nib option there as well. I can't speak to the quality of that, but I should imagine if they can tune a steel nib, they can tune a gold nib, etc., etc. But it's whether you want to take that price jump / risk. Don't know. Maybe I will at some point. But having said that, this steel nib writes fantastically. I'm not sure why I'd bother upgrading that. But hey ho, each to your own, etc., etc. Yeah, I've really enjoyed having this, and I think I may or may not add some more. So there's a couple more colours. You can get it in a dark red and a black. I don't know if there's any more coming available. But I'm moving past the 20-minute mark with my ramblings now, so do excuse me. Overall, I'd say that's a nice little jump up and worth the extra price versus a X159. Your mileage may vary. This is just me. But I've been very impressed with this. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day doing what you're doing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.